Over 55 and thinking of moving? Well, let's see how Prop 19 of California will affect your decision. Hello, everybody. My name is Roxanne Govari with Pemberley Realty, along with my partner, Santiago Guerin.
Hello, everyone. For all 55 plus people out there, this one's for you, right?
It's
Or getting
for
close to
us.
55.
It's for us over 55 people.
Or the ones that will get there eventually. That's so they're aware of. So.
That's right. That's right. Okay. All right. So lots of us over 55 people live in homes that we no longer enjoy, I should say, right?
Mhm.
And this could happen for a variety of reasons. You could be living in a house that's two-story that you no longer want to go up and down those stairs anymore. You could be living in a big house that, if you have become empty nesters and the kids have gone their way, you no longer need as much space. Or you live in a house that has a lot of deferred maintenance, and you don't want to go through updating and having to deal with the construction. So you might rather just pick up and go live in a home that is move-in ready. So there are a variety of reasons why you would think of selling a home and no longer live in it, right? And if you are moving, there are several reasons why you may think that selling that home might not be the best thing. Capital gains is one of those big reasons, but that is not the focus of our conversation today. Focus of our conversation today is property taxes.
Yeah.
So in general, property taxes on a home in California is about 1.25% of purchase price. But once you buy that home and once you start living, that price is kind of built in. It doesn't change any more than 3 to 5% per year. So if you've lived in a house for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, now you have some significant amount of savings for your property taxes. And if you want to sell and pick up and go someplace else, that could be a significant amount of cost that you're adding to
Yeah.
to the cost of your move.
Yeah. Because I mean, it would be a higher price that you're coming in at compared to when you got it before, right? Your current property that you're selling.
Yes, if you're younger than 55.
I see.
If you're older than 55, now you get an opportunity to actually pick up that tax base and move it along with you wherever you go, which is huge, right? So, for example, if you're thinking of $1 million, right? Let's say you bought the house for $200,000, just to make it easy, right? So $200,000 times 1.25%. So your tax base is $2,500, and let's say 3% per year, and let's say 10 years later, just for easier calculations. So 10 years later, 2,500 times 3%, that's $75. So times 10, that's 750. So your taxes are 2,500 plus 750. So your taxes are at 3,250 after that 10 years, right?
Yeah.
But now let's say the same house is now at $1 million, right? So $1 million for the same house times 1.25%, that is $12,500. So if you stay in that house, right? If you
Yeah.
stay in that house, you're only paying 3,250. If you are to repurchase that house, your taxes are 12,500.
Yeah.
So let me see, how much is more? That's an increase of 9250.
Yeah.
Significant, right?
It is. It is.
So now the beauty of it is, okay, so now you have that. Now you decide, okay, you're gonna sell this house at $1 million, right? And you're gonna go and buy another house for $1 million. As long as the other house as long as the other house is in the state of California, you can, and you're over 55, you can go and move from point A to point B and port that 3250 along with you to the new property.
That's very interesting. That's, you know, and beneficial.
Exactly, and it's there's a lot of tax savings there, right?
And what do you think is, you know, do you have to apply for this? How do
Yes, you have
you,
to apply for it.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there might be a misconception, you know, with people 55 plus, you know, that might not know that they need to apply for this to do it, or, uh, you know, and are missing out on pretty big savings.
No, you do have to apply for it. You have to fill out some paperwork through the county to make sure that you realize that savings. And sometimes the reason to do this is obviously to save some money and also free up some cash. So you may be selling this property in, let's say, San Diego, and you may be moving to Temecula and buy something for 500,000, right? But even at $500,000, right? So let's calculate that one. $500,000 times 1.25%. That would be the tax on that would be 6250, whereas you have a tax base of 3250 from your previous home. So you still are better off to port your tax base to the new house, even if it's half the price of your house that you just sold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Now, let's also calculate the other side of it, because a couple of years ago, they added, so Prop 13 was what was basically governing the part that we just talked about, right? But a couple of years ago, they added Prop 19 to this. So what Prop 19 added to this was that, okay, because previously with just Prop 13, you would have to buy a property that was less than. So in other words, you sold your house for a million, right? You would have to buy a house that was at a million or less
I
in
see.
order to port your tax base over. But then what Prop 19 changed is, what if you want to buy something that is more expensive? So you sold your house for a million, and now you want to go and buy a house for 1,500,000, right?
Yeah.
So then what? So what Prop 19 changed was that, okay, so up to that $1 million, you port your tax base of 3250, and then for the extra $500,000 that you've added to the cost, now you add that to the 3250.
I
So
see.
in this case, you had a tax base for $1 million. You had a tax base of 3250, and then the difference of that $500,000, which is 6250, right? So now you have 3250 plus 6250. So now your tax base is 9500,
Yeah.
versus if you were to do it the other way before without the Prop 19, then your tax base would be 18,750.
Yeah. So big difference.
So
Yeah, that's very
basically,
interesting that they do it that way. So it's up to the purchase price that well, the selling price. That's how much you can transfer over to the next one.
right? Not the price that you bought the property
Yeah,
for, but the price that you sold the property
yeah.
for.
And then let's say you eventually sell that other one that you transferred over. So then let's say now you're going to downsize after buying that 1.5. Do you use that new total, right, from the house that you bought for 1.5 to go into the
Yes,
okay,
yes, yes, yes,
okay.
yes. So that's a very good question. So
Yeah.
you essentially are saying, so what I was saying was that, okay, you sell this property and then you turn around and you buy another property, but you can actually do what you're saying. You could buy the new property at 1.5 million first, and
Mm-hmm.
then turn around and sell the other property. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, you have 2 years. You have 2 years to actually sell the first property,
Mm-hmm.
and then port over the taxes.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
So
You do have some time. 2 years
you
is, I
do,
think,
yeah, 2 years might be. No, I'm okay. Let's not quote me on the 2 years. I want to I want to say I'm pretty sure that it's 2 years, but obviously refer to your county tax assessor to
yeah,
find out exactly what that time period is. But you
yeah.
can definitely sell. You can definitely buy the next property and then turn around and sell the original property and then transfer the taxes over.
I see. I see. Okay. Yeah.
So let's see. Obviously you have to be over 55, and your home has to be your primary residence. Um, and then the replacement property also needs to be your primary residence. And and of course both have to be in California. Obviously the first one is in California. The second one also has to be in California. It doesn't matter what county you're going. It used to be, prior to Prop 19, actually it was basically county to county who talks to whom, but then this became a statewide thing. So now you can sell anywhere in California, buy anywhere in California, and you can port your tax base over from wherever it is that you're going to.
Okay.
So let's see. What are some of the other okay, so some questions that we have gotten about this. I can only transfer my tax base if I downsize, and like we talked about, that is not the case. You can also upsize. It's just the difference of how you calculate your taxes
Yeah.
that you use for that. We did talk about, can we buy before or after. We talked about that, and so now we talked about the what is your home worth, and what's your net sale after. We talked about those, and um, some of the others. Okay, if I didn't have to worry about losing your low property tax basis, would you move? And that is a question, right? Would you move if you were in a two-story house and you found out that you can move your property tax base? Would you move? And
Yeah.
these are some of the questions. Moving is a scary thing,
Yeah.
right? But sometimes you do need to free up your equity. Now the other side of that, the other side of that is like, your children are someplace else and you want to move closer to your children. And again, you want to buy a one-story house. You can now let's also talk about what if you want to move? What if you want to leave California entirely,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Now, this becomes another discussion, and it becomes a discussion of not just property taxes, but also capital gains taxes,
Yeah.
because there are several types of taxes that we pay if you're making a move, and you have to consider all of them. So
Yeah.
let's talk about capital gains. Capital gains right now is $250,000 per person and $500,000 per a married couple in capital gains taxes, which is different from property taxes.
Yeah.
Property tax is what you pay every single year when you're paying your property tax to the state. Capital gains is when you sell the property and you have a certain amount of profit that you make on that house, and you pay that to both the state and the federal government,
Yeah. Hmm.
right? So so what if you bought the property for, let's say, same scenario, $200,000, and now you want to sell it for $1 million, right? So your tax base was $200,000, right? And then at $1 million, let's say your closing costs are going to be about $70,000, right? So 200,000 plus $70,000, so that's 270,000. All right. And let's say in that course of that 10 years, you've also spent some money fixing it up. So let's add another 30,000. So now you're at $300,000 tax base for that property.
Yeah.
And you're going to turn around and sell it for $1 million, right? So you're going to sell it for $1 million, and that's gonna basically give you a gain of $700,000,
Yeah.
right?
But then
Now,
you would deduct the 250 from each person, right?
right. So let's say you're a married couple, so you deduct the $500,000 out of that, so you're going to be left with $200,000 that is taxable,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And I believe capital gains is at 35%. So $200,000 times 35%. So you are paying $70,000 in taxes um, if you're selling that property,
Yeah.
right?
No small number.
No small number. But but you could set up the charitable trust like we
Yeah.
talked about yesterday, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And that would be a good way, because 1031 exchanges are not going to help you in this type of scenario, right?
Yeah.
And we were actually working. I don't know if you recall, there was a one scenario that we were talking to one client, and he was thinking that, oh, I can go ahead, I can turn around and do a 1031 exchange. I sell this property here, I buy this property here, move all the proceeds over, and I don't have to pay any taxes.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with that is what?
You know, find the timing on it is difficult, right?
No, the problem with that is you actually cannot do that because it's your primary residence,
Yeah.
and you can only do a 1031 exchange on an investment property. You cannot do it on your primary residence,
Yeah. That's,
right?
yeah.
So that's not an option. But the other option would be a charitable trust.
Yeah.
So with a charitable trust, you set up a charitable trust, you put that $70,000 in the charitable trust, and then so when you die, or when the both spouses die, that money goes to a charity of your choice.
Yeah.
But then what about your children, right?
Yeah.
What about your kids? You want all the money to be going to your kids. Well, you can go ahead and turn around and set up a um, life insurance
Life insurance. Yeah.
life insurance and you can set it up so that the life insurance will pay your kids that $70,000 when you die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
That's a good way to, kind of save those $70,000 and actually put them to use.
put them to use, and you may have some charity that's really close to your heart, and this way you can, because charities, and I don't know, sometimes charities don't even think about this, right? Charities don't think that, oh, well, we can go and ask somebody to give us X amount of dollars now, or we can tell them to set up a charitable trust, and then, yes, we're not going to get this money now, but we will get a whole bunch of money at some time in the future.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's a
Yeah.
win-win.
Yeah. I mean, it's a win-win. I think people need to, or don't know much about it. So it's kind of scary. They're like, oh, I don't want all my money just going to charity and nothing to my kids. So I think the more people are educated on it, they can understand that it can actually be used to, both help the charity and the kids, or who they're going to
Exactly.
be, giving that money to.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And with that $70,000, think of it also that $70,000 is sitting in some account earning interest.
Yeah.
And that interest could be paying for that life insurance, or even more,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a really good way to save some money and
Yeah.
create some generational wealth,
Yeah. For the long run, definitely.
right? All right, everybody. There we have it. We put our heads together and figured out for you how you could make a move, and don't worry about capital gains. Don't worry about property taxes, and get closer to your kids. Get into easier living. Get into a one-story house. Whatever it is that you wish to accomplish, we just figured out some
Yeah.
ways for you to accomplish that. So if you are thinking of making a move, and you need to discuss that and run it by some professionals, we are here and would love to help. Before that happens, if you're watching us on YouTube, Santi, what do you
Thumbs
want them
up.
to do?
Yeah, thumbs up and subscribe so you guys can see the upcoming videos with great hosts that we have and all these topics that we're talking about.
Absolutely. And otherwise, you can always reach out to me if you have any questions. You can reach out to Santiago if you have any questions. You can visit us on our website. We also love to hang out on Instagram or on Facebook. So visit us there as well. And of course, if you are watching us on YouTube, Santi, what do you want them to do?
Thumbs up, thumbs up. Definitely
And
subscribe.
subscribe.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you later.
Bye, everyone. See you guys on the next one.